Welcome back, everyone. So today I'm going to be adding even more abundance into my backyard food forest by planting yet another fruit tree into my garden here. So this beautiful specimen here is known as the strawberry tree, or Arbutus unedo. And there's a lot of things that I really love about this tree. One being that it's an evergreen. That means that this tree is going to retain all these beautiful green leaves throughout the entire year. So I can plant this in an area of the yard, especially if there's an area I want some privacy or some wind blockage. This would be a wonderful plant for that. But I just love having color all throughout the year as well. So this tree is going to help me accomplish that. Now, besides the fact that it's an evergreen, it produces an abundance of edible fruits. Now, I've seen several examples of this tree growing in my local area, and I got a chance to taste some this year for the first time, and I was quite impressed. I would say it wasn't the sweetest of fruits, but it had a custardy-like inside, and although there's a little bit of seeds in there, you eat the seeds as well, and I found it to be quite delicious. I could see how I could use it, especially in my smoothies, one of my favorite ways to utilize some of the produce coming from my garden. But it's very common for the fruits of these trees to be turned into jams, marmalades, and even alcoholic beverages. This tree also contains some medicinal qualities in the leaves and is also used as an anti-inflammatory. So you're probably wondering if you're able to grow this tree in your area, seeing as we all live in different climate zones. Well, this tree can be grown in USDA climate zone 7 and up. It's drought tolerant, frost tolerant, and even though it does like full sun, it will tolerate growing in the shade. It also tolerates salty air, so if you live near the ocean, this plant is commonly grown as a wind block. Another great thing about this fruit tree, and actually it's often referred to as a bush because it'll take on a bush form, although you can't prune it to look like a tree, is that it'll grow in just about any type of soil. It does like more acidic soil, but it'll grow in just about any soil just fine. Now, the wood or bark on this tree is quite beautiful on its own and has uses as well. It's commonly used to make crafts, and a larger tree that produces large branches are sometimes harvested to make crafts like pipes. It also makes a great firewood, so if you are doing pruning in the latter years of its life, you can use that to create some nice fires. Now, prior to the fruit setting on the tree is covered with these beautiful fragrant flowers that attract bees, butterflies, hummingbirds. So just another benefit to growing this plant. Now, if you wanted to propagate new trees from the one tree you got, it's quite easy to do. You can grow new trees from its seed. You can take cuttings, or you can even do air layering on this tree. So where am I going to plant this in the yard today? Well, height and girth is a consideration, and I've seen different numbers as to how large these trees can get. I've heard 10 to 15 feet, I've heard 15 to 30 feet, but typically what I understand is that this tree usually grows up to about 12 to 15 feet tall. So with that in mind, I'm going to want to put it in an appropriate place. It can also spread out that same distance, so it can take up quite a bit of space back here where I've got a lot of dwarf fruit trees, but with proper pruning I could definitely get it to fit in where I want it to. And this area here near the back fence line is wide open, and I'd like to have some more greenery growing back here just to give it that more natural appearance. In the past, I tried a couple different trees that I'm going to share with you didn't work out, and it's just my fault. It's not because the trees won't grow here, but I've got a macadamia nut tree here, and I've got what was an avocado tree over here. And what ended up happening this last summer is I pretty much did an experiment in my food forest and eliminated most watering for the majority of the summertime. And I was surprised that 90+% of the plants growing back here survived. They didn't all thrive, but they survived. But I lost the macadamia and I lost the avocado. Thankfully, I've got another avocado growing elsewhere in the yard near the house in full shade. And this area gets full sun. So in retrospect, it wasn't really a good idea to plant that here because there's no parent plants to help shade it out in its earlier years, which is what avocados like. I did attempt to create shade using burlap. I even used an old trampoline at one point to create shade, but as soon as I neglected the tree, it just died. Now, the only good thing about all of this is that the area where this avocado was growing has some nice soil that I've added on. It's been being mulched over the last couple years. So I'm not going to have to do much amending, and the soil is nice and fluffy and drains very well. So I'm just going to remove this fencing, remove the cage, and go ahead and plant that strawberry tree right there. But hey, no shame in admitting plant abundance has failures in the garden, just like everyone else. It happens, but you take it in stride and you replace it with something that you think might do better, and you just keep growing. That's my philosophy, at least. sheet mulch around this tree, so I don't need to remove everything, but look at that. Just gorgeous. Just cake. When planting potted fruit trees, you typically want to make a hole that's about 3 times the diameter of the pot. But this stuff is so loose all the way around, I'm not too worried about the size of the hole. The depth is more important to me. Right, let's drop this pot in and see where we're at. We'll go a little bit lower. Now, this is a slow growing tree. It'll take many. So that looks good. Just going to step it in around the base a little bit. Help secure it. And even though we got some rains coming in later this evening or tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and soak this in with the hose. Just help get rid of any possible air pockets that are in there. And I'll come back in the spring, give it a bit of compost tea, a little bit of fertilizer. Well, that's it, everyone. The strawberry tree, Arbutus unedo. Look into it, growing if you can. And with that, hope everyone's having a great day. Until next time, this is Dan from plantabundance.com. Take care. I'll be talking to you again soon.